Okay, there, did it. Okay, how long have we
Wow.
been on? Nothing to it, guys, right? Hallelujah. So I'd like everybody to meet. This is Marda Stoliar. I just met her recently. She is I shouldn't have said that you're a baker. You're really a pastry chef. That she knows what she's doing. That she teaches people how to become pastry chefs and have their own stores. And where did you learn?
I actually learned my breads in Venice. As a shoe designer, I would go all day working, and then at night I would go to this bakery and work from midnight until 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I would go back and be a shoe designer by day. No reason. I just wanted to learn.
You just want, but now I must say that I really connected with Marda when I discovered that she was a shoe designer, because I remember my first pair of expensive shoes were by Margaret Gerald.
Right.
And what was that, 1960s?
1958.
No, I wasn't. I did it in the 60s. But it was
Okay.
this black pair that was so beautifully shaped. And I bought them at Bullock's Welshire. Those people
Right.
from LA will know about Bullock's Welshire. And I love those shoes forever. Just beautiful. And you were a designer there.
Right. That was my first job as a shoe designer out of.
And what made you go to baking?
Well, and I learned my pastries in Paris, and
Where?
at there were no schools back then. Um, you know, we aren't young. I'm 80.
Yeah, and I'm 81.
Yes. Well, I'll be 81 in April. So
Twins.
twins, absolutely. Um, I went to La Marais, which was a really upscaled French restaurant, and I was eating dinner, and I said to the chef that came to see if we liked our meal, and I said yes, and I love these miniature pastries, an eclair that was only 1 inch long and it was filled, and things like that. It was just truly amazing. And he said, well, what are you doing at midnight? And I said, why? And he said, well, do you want to come and work? And he said, you can just look. And, I said, sure. And anyway, I did that for about 2 weeks, 4 times a year for 10 years. And that's how I learned my pastries.
Were you allowed to get in and actually work?
Oh, after the about third time I was there, they started giving me jobs. And then I started writing to them, telling them when I was going to be in Paris. And then I found out they were giving people vacations, that they could take time off, and then I could take their job. Ooh. But it's been I've had such a wonderful life as a shoe designer, something I truly loved. And I went to the only university in the United States that has a course in shoe designing, which was Pratt Institute in New York City.
Uh-huh.
And I fell in love with New York right along with it. And
well, everybody needs to know that I don't. There's a documentary about you.
yes,
About how you taught that people come, from what I understand, people ask to be taught how to open up a bakery, and they come to you, and I don't know, do they work with you one-on-one?
Yes, I only take one student at a time.
And then you teach them.
I customize the course for every student because each student wants something different.
And so you taught this one man. Well, I mean, you've taught a lot of people. How many have you taught?
In the United States, probably only about 40. Worldwide, over 300.
Wow. And I understood you also taught some young girls in Cambodia.
Oh, sure. Oh, yes. I've been all over the world.
How did you get to Cambodia?
A lady from Cambodia was in Hong Kong, and she was in a pastry shop, and she loved everything they had. So she said to them, well, where did you learn? And they said, International School of Baking with Marda Stoliar. And so I ended up with a job in Cambodia, actually training girls to get them out of the sex trafficking and give them a job that they could actually do. And I trained them how to bake because that's something that men would allow them to do. And so,
So it was okay if their tummies were filled.
yes, yeah. So anyway, and I've done a lot of work in Honduras and in France, and for 14 years, I traveled between Bend, Oregon and China. And I made 43 trips in 14 years to China, teaching bread baking predominantly.
Well, I had your bread for breakfast this morning.
Oh, you did? Good.
Yes, you're making me very fat. So this is, I believe this is a rye bread.
Yes.
But it's kind of wheat. It's not white. It's a dark flour.
It's a medium rye bread. It's made with dark rye and light rye, and
Well,
then
it was delicious.
white whole wheat.
It's delicious. I had 2 pieces.
And it's very filling.
Well, obviously, I had 2 pieces, so I need lots of filling. It was delicious. And let me show everybody, well, a couple of things. So look at these cookies. So they're half, can you see that it's half dark chocolate, half light chocolate? And it's like with a biscuit in the center. It's like a crisp biscuit. So it's not an Oreo cookie. It's not sweet. It's a sophisticated cookie in that that it's not too sweet. It's got, you can taste the different chocolates, and it's as I say, kind of like a biscuit. It's delicious.
It is a biscuit. That's what I call it.
Well, aren't I smart?
Yes, you're so smart.
Look at that. A couple of things that I go ahead.
That gold on there is real gold.
From what I understand, you can eat real gold.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I'm doing it, right? Why not? I'd like to add, so what is the name of the documentary going to be?
I think it's called Marda's Gift.
Okay. So a couple of things. Marda, I went onto your website. No, it's not your website. I went to your Instagram. Everybody needs to follow Marda. Marda Stoliar. Stoliar. And so I was, not mucking around, but I was looking around, and oh my God, your Asian cooking, those dumplings, those soups, that Asian food. I would love to be taught that.
I teach Chinese cooking as well.
During this COVID, I've gotten into Chinese cooking because I'm so sick of my own.
Yes, I made myself some Chinese food yesterday. For me, that's crazy.
No, it isn't. It is beautiful. Your Chinese cooking looks beautiful. She also made a cake out of a David Austin rose. If you guys love if you love roses, it's just exquisite. I love that David Austin cake.
Oh,
just
I do.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just beautiful. So I had a great time, looking around at all of your baking, and then the Chinese stuff really got me. And then I saw David Austin, and I thought, well, that's it. Just wonderful.
Well, I lived in Japan for 5 years, and I lived in Taiwan for 7 years before I moved to Paris. So, and then from Paris, I moved to Bend, Oregon.
Why?
Well, when we were leaving Paris, I have a lot of Oriental antiques, and they told me that I would have to pay an 18% duty on all exports if I wasn't sending them to a domicile. So I said to my mother, just buy us a house. I don't care where. And she said, well, I remember David said that he liked that little town called Bend. So she got in the car and came to Bend and bought us a house. That's how I ended up in Bend.
Okay, so Bend, Oregon, I know it because my daughter lived there for a couple of years. So I used to visit all the time. It's a
That's
ski town. It's a very, I don't want to, I'm not going to put it down, but it's a ski town. It's a mountain bike town. It's the farthest thing from Paris that you can imagine.
that's right. Right. And people from my friends all over the world kept saying, why are you doing that? But you know, it's a great place to travel from, um, a great place to come home to.
Well, wait a second. What do you mean travel from? Where's the airport?
15 miles away.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And there's 7 carriers come in to Redmond Airport. So we're
Oh,
now,
Redmond, Washington. Oh,
we're
okay.
in, yeah. And oh, we're 100,000 people. When
Okay.
I when I moved to Bend, there were 16,000.
Yeah, that's when I knew it. Well,
Yeah.
what is your biggest tip for bakers?
Use a scale. Do not use cups and teaspoons and tablespoons. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely.
I use once I started using a scale for measuring flour. I
Yeah.
measure everything when I
Yes.
bake. Once
Yes.
I started using a scale, I could I could do anything.
Yes.
It
Because it comes out the same every time.
well, because a cup of sugar, no, a cup of flour from one person is different than a cup of flour from another and another. But if you weigh it, and I keep records of it, and I put it down. I write down in the cookbook how many. What do I write down? What I write down the ounces so
Right.
that if they don't include the ounces, I make sure of the ounces. And there's a different amount for if it's sifted, unsifted, whole flour,
Every flour
flour.
has a different weight.
Yes, people need to know that.
Yes, every flour has a different weight. So a cup of flour doesn't mean a darn thing.
And you made the point when we were talking last that the flour in California is different from the flour in the South, in the East, in the North.
Especially when that word all purpose. You know, as I said to you before, I think all purpose flour is sort of like one size fits all pantyhose. It never fit anybody very well. And
Right.
that's 1 cup. It doesn't mean anything.
Can I make another point also?
Yeah.
That I try and teach my grandchildren. This is for flour, for rice, for dry ingredients. This is for liquid. Don't mix them up. Many
But
people don't know that.
but with weight, it doesn't matter.
Well, there you go.
Yep. With weight, it doesn't make any difference. A pound of water, pound of water.
A pound of feathers, same, right?
Yeah, a pound of feathers. A pound of feathers is a pound of feathers. It may be huge or it may be tiny. The only time you get a difference is if you're testing gold.
That isn't the same?
No, 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 no. They have a different weight for gold.
Oh, carrots. Or is that
Carrots.
diamonds?
Hmm. It's
Well,
carrot.
obviously, I haven't studied diamonds.
Yeah.
But those are, now you have also been a judge on do you all know about the James Beard Awards, guys? That you've judged the cookbooks?
Yes, I judged the pastries and breads cookbook for 7 years. And in January, about the 2nd or 3rd of January every year, I would get anywhere between 1 to 200 books deposited on my front porch. And some of them were as interesting as Susie's muffin book with a muffin book with a muffin container attached. And then I would get incredible books that were in great detail of, say, just sourdough. That But if it didn't have weights in some form, I didn't even care. I didn't read them. Because I think it's time that the American people are given the information to do things right. Because in a lot of books, it will say 6 to 7 cups of flour, 492 grams. Now, they know it's 492 grams, but there's a big difference between 6 and 7 cups of flour. And I believe that people need to be given the right information. But a lot of cookbook people that are printing cookbooks do not want to insist on a weight because people may not have a scale, so they aren't going to buy the book.
It's not expensive. I've
No.
had it for gazillions of years, and I don't even know how many years. And you buy it once, and if you're at all concerned about your baking, this is the answer.
And it may need a battery every 10 years.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, I have one now that I have had 22 years because I dated the bottom of it. And I haven't changed the battery yet. And I got it at Target. And it
Yeah.
was so good that I have 2 of them and I still use them for little bitty things up to 5 pounds.
And for weighing for letters.
Yeah.
And for Weight Watchers.
And all those things.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. Do you have a favorite baking book?
Oh, technically, there's one that is just the best book in the world, and it's been translated from German into English by a Canadian gentleman. And it comes with a DVD, and that's the one you don't want. You want the one that he actually first printed in 1985. And in 1985, it was $100, and now it's, I don't know, you can find the old used ones for 500 and 600 on the internet.
Well, so since that's not going to happen, is there
No,
another one that you would recommend?
see, so, but that's the only one that's really the only technical one. And so many times I make my students get that book, even though they don't even understand it, because when they finish my course, then they have a book to go back to when things go wrong, and they can look it up and find out what was wrong. But when it comes to, there's several really beautiful books out these days. And I can leave a list with you later on
Okay.
of 3 really good bread books and 4 really wonderful pastries.
Okay.
I can leave that all your people.
What's the name of this? Wait, pardon I've got an old book that is still the New Settlement Cookbook.
Yeah, I have that.
From I don't know how many years ago. It's got to be 40.
Oh no, much more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
I make a fabulous sponge cake from there.
Yes. And does yours have a white cover? Sort of.
No, I think it's orange with black lettering, but that's the hold on, let me look for it. Hold on. Maybe it is white. So people want to know which Asian cookbook you like.
Actually,
Wait, the confetti spaghetti. What is that?
I have probably 50 Asian cookbooks. I have over 3,000 books. But I like the ones, there's actually I'll send you some interesting ones on that also, because the Japanese, there's several really good ones. Chinese, I've got some wonderful ones, and I'm going to send you a whole list of
Oh,
these
don't
books.
make them too hard.
No, no, no. I'm going to make them the ones that I like because they're so simple.
Great,
One
great.
lady that actually has a ebook out, and every week she has about 3 or 4 new formulas, and I download them, and I now have 10 books of hers, like beef, a book on beef, one on pork, one on chicken, one on shrimp. I mean,
What's her name?
oh dear.
Oh, okay. I won't press you on that.
Yeah.
Let me
I
ask you another question. How does it feel having a documentary about yourself, your life?
I told them that they should have done it about 10 years ago when I looked better.
You look fabulous.
No.
Yes, you do.
But
You look
yes,
wonderful.
swimming in the morning, and this one woman came up to me and she said, "Do you have your hair done every week?" And I said, "Are you kidding? I haven't been to a hairdresser in 40 years." And I
Who
cut,
cuts your hair?
huh?
You cut your own hair?
Yeah. Yeah. I've always cut my own hair.
Oh, I'd make a mess of mine. Good for you.
Well,
It looks great.
I just decide what it's going to look like.
I have a girlfriend that does it also.
Yeah.
Darren. But tell me, so how does it feel though? People recognize, how did they find you to decide to do a film about you, a documentary about you?
I'm not really sure, but I have some friends that think I'm weird, and that I've done more than the average person. And they thought that I should write a book. And I said, people don't buy books unless they know the person when they're buying an autobiography or something. If they know the person and they're famous, they buy the book. Nobody knows me, so nobody's going to buy the book. Um, and so then they said, well, maybe a movie. And I said, I don't look good enough for a movie. And they said, people don't care what you look like. They care what you have to say and what you've done. And so that's how the whole thing started. It started with friends. Um, uh, I have a good friend here in Bend, Sheila Rittenberg, and her good friend is Toby. And they got together and decided that I was a good idea. I've just been a very lucky person. I've traveled all over the world. I've done
I think it's more than luck.
well, it's something I've always been creative. Um, I think I decided to be a shoe designer when I was in like the 4th grade. And that was the end of that discussion. We knew what I was going to be.
Secretary or teacher?
I got fired once in New York. And when I went to unemployment, they said I'd have to go to school and become a secretary because there was nobody needed a shoe designer.
You know, young women today um, uh, don't know what it was like being a woman. You're 80, I'm 80, 81. What it was like, let's say even 50, 60 years ago. It was the same. I went to UCLA Fine Arts School,
Mhm.
and they never encouraged, no matter how good you were, they always encouraged the men. The women, you were to stay home and have children, but the men they encouraged. The people don't realize how much women have brought up other women. Um, that raised them up.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because back when we were young and getting into an industry, we had to be better than anybody else. And but they didn't pay us that much, but we had to be better.
You know, when I was at UCLA, Vincent Price came to UCLA and wanted to choose artists for his collection. And I was just beginning, but he chose me. And the male artists were so pissed. They were just irate. What do you mean choosing, this woman who's just starting out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, when I would win awards, it was always sort of like, huh, her. But actually, I took a photography course once, a 1 month long photography course from Minor White and,
Wow.
and Ansel Adams.
Can you get any better than that?
No better than that. And I was the first woman they ever let in. And at night, when they would critique the pictures, the men would get mad. But I said to them, the camera is just the vehicle. I am a shoe designer. I'm creative. And see, in my baking, it's another creative form. It's I haven't changed. I still like the same colors, and you can tell I have a pink dining room and I have a purple living room. And
Makes sense to me.
absolute sense. My sister said, "You'll never sell the house." I said, "It's a coat of paint."
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, but we had to put up with a lot. There's no way you could walk into a cocktail party at a shoe show when there were 50,000 men in town and there were only 100 women in the industry. And if you didn't get every suggestion or innuendo in the world, let's put it this way, they would all have been in jail.
I've got stories also, so I understand what you're.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I understand.
And you just put up with it. And you just say, that's not my goal. And my goal is, and I made a plan. When I got out of college, Russia had a 5-year plan. And I thought, well, if the Russians have a 5-year plan, maybe I should have a 5-year plan too.
Did you know that you were going to go into baking? Had you baked when you were a little girl?
I had cooked from the time I was about 9. I did all the dinners at home, and I got 25 cents a dinner. I made 25 cents every dinner that I made. But the big problem was my parents did the shopping.
Oh.
I had to figure out how to put it together. But I didn't do a lot of baking because nobody in my family ate a lot of baked goods.
Oh.
And so, and my mother was a very bad cook. She wasn't, she ate to live.
My husband always said that he didn't know what good cooking was until he went into the Air Force.
That's about, well, I found out about rare roast beef when I moved to New York to go to college.
Shocking.
Oh, that was awfully good stuff.
Yeah. Well, tell us some more about are you training anybody right now?
I have somebody who comes once a month for a week, and she's a state legislator, and she can get off once a month for a week. And eventually, when she retires, she's going to open a bakery. And she's saved up enough money to do that.
And that's your specialty, is teaching people how to open up a bakery.
How to bake for a bakery. First of all, culinary schools don't train anybody for a bakery. You know, they teach you how to make a chocolate cake. They teach you how to make pâte fouille. But nobody tells you how to make 200 of them.
Interesting.
and do 6 other things at the same time.
Interesting.
So I sort of give them 3 to 4 things going on at the same time, and you're making 50 of those and 50 of those and 25 of those, so that all the time they're with me, they feel like they're in a bakery and doing all these things. And then when they go to open a bakery, I help them get their equipment, which
Wow.
and how to design the bakery, and I go and help them open the bakery. So
Well,
that's taken me all over the world.
if anybody is here and wants to open up a bakery, you know where to go.
Yes.
Marda, and you must check out Marda's Instagram page and see the variety there. You've got to check out that David Austin rose cake, but also the Chinese food just really knocked me out. I was really surprised by that. And looking at you make dumplings.
Uh-huh. You always have to have a bunch of dumplings in the freezer because you never know when you're going to need them.
I need them right now and I don't have them.
Well, I would send them to you, but the shipping has just gone bad.
I know. That's funny. So my son, what he's learned how to do is make bunt cakes, and he was sending some to his father-in-law,
Uh-huh.
and it cost him $75.
Uh-huh.
So he's not doing that again.
Yes, I know, because I had a past student that her husband said that her Russian black bread wasn't like Marda's. So she said, would you please send me 2 loaves of your Russian black bread? And I said, sure, no problem. They live in Chicago. $125 later for 2 loaves of black bread.
Oh my
And
goodness.
overnight air, it was second day.
Oh my goodness. Whoa.
She paid for it because she knew, but she did at least prove to her husband that they were the same.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to learn to make dumplings.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know.
It's so much fun.
Is it?
Uh-huh. It really is. Yeah.
It would, something, if we didn't have COVID and I could have my grandkids here and my granddaughter, and if we all got together around the kitchen table and made dumplings,
It's so fun.
That's what I call fun.
That for a family in Malibu about 15 years ago, and they had 6 children, and they had this enormous home, and we made things one day, and the next day we sat down to this huge dinner of all these different things, and I took 2 people at a time and taught them one thing, and other 2 people and taught them the next thing, and it was so much fun.
I bet.
It was just great.
I've had a wonderful time cooking with my grandchildren. I remember the first time I made chocolate chip cookies with my granddaughter Anna, and I was so excited, and it was wonderful being able to cook with her. And I think she was 4 or 5, and I loved it. And then I tried to make pasta. Which one? Pasta Alfredo. Oh, with my grandson Peter. And if you could make the worst glue known to mankind, but it's always going to be remembered how terrible it was. But these are memories.
Well, my niece's son took one look at my sheeter, which is it's a piece of equipment that laminates doughs, or it makes your cookies different heights. You roll it back and forth and it goes lower and lower and lower. Great.
Like a pasta machine?
Yeah, only better. Yeah. And this child was 7 years old, and he walked in and he looked at it and he said, are those millimeters or centimeters? I've had adults that never even understood what that was.
He's way too smart.
Way too smart. And he loves to make pies. And he just took to that sheeter and he just made pie crust and from the beginning, and then he made the fillings, and we had a ball.
Isn't that fabulous?
It was just fabulous, and I got some great photographs too. Yeah.
Well, Marta, you've been just a delight. I'm sorry we had so many technical problems, and
Right.
yeah, I don't know it. I don't know enough to know what went on. I'm sorry. I hope everybody had
Well, but we got together,
absolutely. We did
and
get together.
I've been watching you, and I just enjoy your shows so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
One thing is, I love the fact that you're always putting on colored nail color, and my nails are just my nails.
Those are real?
Yeah, they're mine. Yeah, and
how can you cook with them? How can you do anything?
well, these are too long, but
Wait, let's see. Hold them up. Hold them up. Oh my God.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, wait, mine aren't. Mine are
No,
terrible. Mine crack. They break. They're weak. They're soft. Do you have strong bones also?
no, I have extreme osteoporosis. I was 5'11", and I am now 5'7". But
Aren't we all interesting?
I have great hair
Yeah,
and
better than me. Yeah.
great fingernails. That's all I got out of the deal.
Well, my hair is really thinning and my fingernails are. I'm trying to find something that's great. Um, I'll think about it for a while because
Yeah.
I don't have any part of my body that I've got good legs.
Oh.
So I've got good legs, but I don't have good hair. I don't have good nails. I don't have good anything. But this has been, I hope everybody, oh, we all have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called AGE.
Yeah.
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 I hope everybody will follow, go to Marda Stoliar, her page, follow her. And I don't know what you do about that, the film, but I want you guys to look at the David Austin cake because it just really blew me away. And also the photographs of her Asian cooking. Your mouth, I mean, I love all your baking. It's delicious, but it really, when I saw that, the David Austin cake, I even told my husband about it. And the Asian cooking was so mouthwatering. Maybe I'm desperate. Maybe I'm desperate for
Also,
something other than my own cooking.
on my Instagram, you also see that I have my dog with me half the time, right?
What kind is he?
Well, she is actually, because I was doing this today, she decided to sleep and snore right behind me on
Well,
this
makes her feel more secure.
right here. She's a beagle.
Oh, they're so
Yeah.
cute.
Are you right here, Nana? Are you here? Where are you, Nana? Where are you? Hmm? Well, I guess I don't get a picture of you.
Well,
Nana. Nope. No picture. She decided she just moved because she didn't want a picture. Yeah.
my daughter just adopted a rescue dog, and so I've been sending up toys and blankies, and it's like being a grandma and sending all sorts of stuff up there for my new grandson.
Well, I tell you, Nana is my best friend, and she drives me crazy. She pushes me around, but she gets me up in the morning, and at 9 o'clock, she wants to go to bed.
Well, listen, everybody wants to know if you'll send me the names of the cookbooks that you recommend, the Asian ones, and it doesn't have to be a huge, long
No,
list.
no. I'm
Okay.
going to like 3 in each category. That's it.
Great. And if people have questions, you can also go to Marta's Instagram page, and I'll make sure that I'll put that in my caption notes. And what else do I need to put? I've always had Scottish Terriers. Those are cute dogs too.
They are adorable and they're
Yes,
smart.
yes.
That's a problem.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Marta. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure. So nice to meet you. You know, I
Nice.
don't have your cell phone number. I don't have any of that. So
You will
why
get,
not? Yeah, just send it to me. That's
okay.
great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you had a good time.
So much for
Sorry
inviting.
for all the technical issues, but that's the internet.
Yes, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.